The movie begins with Misha, a quiet Russian immigrant who has been in the United States for years. He started a new job as a janitor at a large research facility. On day one, an employee named Virgil gives him a quick tour and points out the areas Misha will be cleaning. Virgil explains that part of the facility is a laboratory that keeps animals for research, then leads Misha into the basement, a dim space lined with cages. Misha notices a parrot locked in a small cage, and the sight still clearly bothers him. Virgil warns him not to get close. The bird bites and pushes him along. The next day, Misha works alone. Mid-shift, he hears someone singing, and the sound seems to drift up from the basement. Since he's sure he's the only one in the building, he freezes, listening, then forces himself to brush it off as imagination. Later, in an office, he finds a book called Parrots of the World. As he flips through it, the singing returns, much clearer now. Curious and unsettled, he follows the voice downstairs. In the basement, he discovers the singer is the parrot, and it's not just mimicking sounds. The bird is talking, clearly and naturally. Misha steps closer, stunned, but he bumps a nearby cage and knocks it over. The crash startles the parrot. It turns aggressive, and Misha bolts. He tells Virgil the parrot can sing and speak like a person. Virgil doesn't believe him and tells him to stop imagining things and focus on cleaning. Misha can't let it go. He studies Parrots of the World, searching for clues, and notices an address scribbled on one page, though he doesn't act on it yet. Instead, he focuses on diet. What foods attract parrots? The next day, he buys the fruits listed and brings them to the cage, laying them out carefully and speaking softly, trying to coax the bird into talking again. Nothing, until he pulls out a mango. The parrot immediately talks, joking that it has sold itself for a mango. Now Misha is certain. The bird truly talks, and it loves mangoes. Misha rushes to the senior researcher, Dr. Reingold, and reports everything. The doctor dismisses it as simple mimicry. Misha insists on proving it and drags everyone to the basement, offering the parrot a mango in front of them. This time, the parrot says nothing. Dr. Reingold loses patience and tells Misha to stick to the job he was hired for. After they leave, Misha feels humiliated and terrified for his job, and the loneliness hits hard. He regrets leaving home and misses his people. Then the parrot speaks again, quietly telling Misha it's lonely too. Misha asks why it stayed silent earlier. The bird says speaking has caused it trouble before, and it won't risk that pain again. It adds that the story behind it is a long one. Misha smiles and says he's Russian. Russians don't mind long stories. Paulie finally begins his story. He tells Misha about Marie, a gentle little girl with a stubborn stutter.
Marie, come see what your grandpa brought you.
Grandpa! The bird!
One day her grandfather brought her a parrot as a gift, Paulie. Marie latched onto him, treating him like a best friend. She fed him, played with him, talked to him, and even let him sleep beside her. As Paulie grew, he still couldn't fly. Around then, Marie's father Warren returned from the army after years away. Warren asked where the parrot came from, and Marie tried to explain her grandfather brought him, but her words snagged. The stutter made Warren tense.
Grandpa got him for me.
He was upset his wife never told him and demanded to know why Marie hadn't seen a speech therapist, worrying it would ruin her future. Marie overheard and took it as proof her father didn't like her. She put a tiny princess hat on Paulie, called him her fairy godmother, and whispered for help so she could speak. Her parents did take her to therapy, but Marie was so discouraged she barely tried. Practice at home was hard, and the stress between her parents kept rising. Paulie finally stepped in, coaching her quietly, simple words, step by step, always with real care, patience, and warmth.
Cup. Cup. You're not doing that. Cup.
Cup.
What about this?
Rock.
Rock. Fence.
Fence.
What's that?
Chair.
Marie started speaking clearer. When her parents noticed, they were relieved and amazed. Paulie says that was the first time he truly spoke to her, not just mimicking, but helping. From then on, he became her secret support, teaching her words and giving her confidence. But Warren began noticing Marie spent all her time with the bird. When he asked her to go to the supermarket, she refused, saying Paulie was teaching her new words. Warren dismissed it, insisting birds don't talk. They only repeat what humans say. Paulie stayed silent around him, admitting to Misha he'd always been afraid of Warren. He also confesses another fear: heights. That fear is why he never really tried to fly and why he still can't. Things turned darker when Warren brought home a cat. Paulie felt hunted. The cat tried to attack him and Paulie barely escaped. Warren snapped, blaming Paulie for Marie's isolation, no friends, lost in fantasy. In his mind, the parrot had to go. Marie overheard the plan. Heartbroken, she begged Paulie to run away for a few days and come back when things calmed down. But Paulie panicked. Flying still terrified him. Trying to push him past the fear, Marie climbed onto the roof, slipped, and nearly fell. Warren saved her, but it only convinced him more that Paulie was dangerous. Soon after, he tore Paulie away and sold him to Artie, a pawn shop owner who collected antiques. That's how Paulie lost Marie, and Misha's eyes fill with tears. Time passes. At Artie's shop, a man hears Paulie talking and tries to buy him immediately. Before the deal can happen, a woman named Ivy walks in, offers more money, and buys Paulie herself. While traveling with Ivy, Paulie begs to be let out of the cage. Ivy finally opens it, but Paulie still can't fly. With no other choice, he starts walking, determined to find Marie on foot. Paulie nearly gets into a serious accident and barely escapes. Shaken, he returns to Ivy, admits the cage might have been safer, and realizes he doesn't even know where to begin searching. That's when Ivy understands. Paulie isn't wandering. He's searching for someone he loves. She gently promises she'll help him find Marie. Ivy uses a phone book to track down Marie's old address, and when they pull up near the house, Paulie can barely contain himself. Sure, this is it. Sure, Marie is finally right there. But the excitement collapses fast. The place is empty, abandoned. After questioning the neighbors, Ivy learns the truth. Marie's family moved years ago, all the way to Los Angeles. Paulie insists they leave immediately. Ivy gently shuts him down. Crossing the country isn't something they can just do on a whim. Not right now. Back at her van, Paulie's disappointment turns bitter. He points out that if she still had her old RV, they could have made the trip. That opens a door Ivy usually keeps locked. She admits that when her husband was alive, they traveled everywhere in that RV. Their biggest shared dream was to reach the Grand Canyon and watch the sunrise together. But when her husband died, the dream died with him. Paulie listens, then says something that lands like a hand on her shoulder. Ivy misses her husband the same way he misses Marie. The comparison hits her hard. Right then, Ivy decides she'll reunite him with Marie, no matter what it takes. True to her word, Ivy gets the RV ready and heads toward Los Angeles with Paulie beside her. Over the long miles, their bond deepens. What starts as simple companionship slowly becomes real friendship, but the road punishes Ivy. She's not young anymore, and non-stop travel drains her. Her eyesight worsens, and one day they barely avoid a serious crash. A doctor checks her and warns her bluntly, she needs to stop driving. Ivy breaks it to Paulie, telling him Los Angeles isn't far now. If he could learn to fly, he could reach Marie on his own. But Paulie refuses. He won't leave Ivy behind. Instead, he promises to become her eyes, to guide her, protect her, and stay with her the way she stayed with him. Not long after, Ivy's vision fades completely, and Paulie becomes her lifeline, steering her through the world one step at a time. Then fate strikes again. Ivy passes away, leaving Paulie alone. Again. After her death, Paulie finally does what he feared his whole life. He truly tries to fly. This time, it works. He lifts off free at last, soaring over mountains, and he witnesses a breathtaking sunrise, the exact dream Ivy and her husband once carried. Misha is stunned by everything Paulie has endured and quietly asks what happened next. Paulie continues. On the road, he meets a female parrot named Lupe and falls for her instantly. He tries talking, but Lupe only understands Spanish, so his words mean nothing to her. She belongs to Edward, a migrant taco seller, and helps him earn money. Edward quickly realizes Paulie is hanging around because of Lupe and lets him stay nearby. When Paulie mentions he's searching for Marie, Edward is surprised. He says Marie lives in Los Angeles. He checks a directory for her family, but their name isn't listed. Edward asks Paulie to help with street shows to draw customers. Paulie agrees, mostly because of Lupe. He's clearly smitten, but Lupe keeps her distance, teasing him like it's a game. The talk of first love triggers Misha's own memory. He admits he once loved a girl deeply but never had the courage to confess. He lived with the regret until his close friend proposed to her and she got married. And on her wedding day, she told Misha something he never forgot. She had always liked him too, but his silence frightened her. Misha sets his own heartbreak aside and asks what happened next. Paulie says that after staying with Edward, he began performing in street shows regularly. People loved him. The crowds grew, and life finally felt lighter. Even Lupe, who once ignored him, started warming up. Paulie admits something painful. For a while, he forgot about Marie. Happiness distracted him. Then Benny, the man who once tried to buy him at the pawn shop, shows up at Edward's show, recognizes Paulie, and offers money. Edward refuses, so Benny turns cruel. Another day, he secretly calls the police and reports the show as illegal. When officers arrive, the crowd panics and scatters. In the chaos, Benny grabs Paulie and vanishes. Benny claims it's for Paulie's own good. If he wants to find Marie, he'll need cash, money for phone directories, and, if that fails, a private detective. Desperate, Paulie believes him. Soon, Paulie is helping Benny steal. It starts small, but Benny's girlfriend pushes for something bigger. That's when Paulie suggests diamonds. They break into a house and crack open a jewelry box. Paulie lifts a gold chain, but a child spots them. Everything collapses. Benny abandons Paulie and runs. Paulie calls out, but Benny never looks back. The homeowner catches Paulie, and instead of the police, Paulie is handed over to Dr. Reingold, the same senior researcher Misha once tried to convince. This time, Reingold has full control, and he plans to study Paulie properly. Even then, Paulie asks the question he's asked again and again. Will you help me find Marie? Reingold promises that if Paulie cooperates, he'll be reunited with her. That promise is enough. Paulie agrees. Almost immediately, Paulie shocks the research team. He understands complex ideas, answers thoughtfully, and even jokes, turning the tables on the scientists. Even Misha laughs, but the truth slips out by accident. Paulie overhears Reingold on the phone. They've traced Marie's address, yet they have no intention of letting Paulie go. He's too valuable to lose. It breaks him. When Reingold presents Paulie to other researchers, Paulie refuses to perform. He acts like an ordinary parrot, random noises, meaningless squawks. The researchers leave disappointed. When a door opens, Paulie tries to escape, but he's caught instantly. To make sure he can't run again, Reingold orders his wings clipped. When Paulie keeps resisting, they lock him away in the basement. From that moment on, Paulie never speaks to anyone again. He doesn't even know how many years pass. By the time he finishes, Misha is devastated. He promises he'll find Marie, no matter what it takes. Paulie answers with bitter resignation. Everyone has promised that. Misha doesn't argue. He starts forcing open Paulie's cage. Paulie warns it could get him fired, but Misha doesn't care. Helping Paulie is the only thing that matters. Misha races into Dr. Reingold's office, searching for Marie's address. There's nothing, until he remembers the page he once noticed in Parrots of the World, the one with a phone number written on it. Marie's number. He dials it once. A young woman answers. Misha says he's found a parrot named Paulie and asks her to tell Marie he's alive and safe. The instant Marie's name is spoken, Paulie flaps wildly, bursting with joy. After all these years, he's finally close. Reingold storms in and reaches for Paulie. Misha steps in front of him, calls him a liar, and says he's taking Paulie to his friend. Reingold fires him on the spot. Misha laughs and says he quits anyway. He runs with Paulie. Guards chase him through the corridors. Cornered, Misha locks himself in a room full of caged animals, smashes a window, and escapes. When the guards break in, Misha and Paulie are gone, and the animals are loose. Reingold is left behind, powerless, with guilt finally catching up. Later, Misha rides a bus to a quiet neighborhood and stops at a house. A small child is outside and Paulie's heart jumps. He thinks it's Marie, but the child panics and runs inside. Not her. The hope drains out of both of them. Then the door opens again and a young woman steps out. "I'm Marie." Paulie freezes. The Marie he remembers was 5. This woman is grown, almost unrecognizable. Doubt floods him, until Marie softly sings a lullaby, the same one her mother used to sing to them long ago, a song only they shared. That's enough. Paulie takes flight and soars into her arms. Marie is overwhelmed, and Paulie finally understands how much time was lost. She introduces him to the little girl next door, and it's clear Marie speaks confidently now. She thanks Paulie for helping her find her voice, and thanks Misha for bringing him back. Misha starts to leave. Marie invites him inside, but he hesitates until Paulie stops him. "Don't run this time," he says. Silence becomes regret, and maybe Marie is the person Misha has been waiting for. Misha stays. With Paulie beside him, he steps into the house, not sure what comes next, only that he's finally brave enough to face it.